Welcome to another episode of Mothers in the Middle. Today, I have the honor and the privilege to introduce to you Marie-Thérèse, or as we like to call her, Tantine Kema, which is translated as Auntie Kema. She is the founder of a nonprofit organization. She's an incredible mother. She's an incredible advocate with an incredible story, and I hope that you enjoy today's episode. All right. Welcome to Mothers in the Middle. Hi, Leslie.
Hey, girl.
Hi, Tati Kema.
Hello, huh?
How's it
Hi,
going?
Leslie. Hey, Tati Kema.
How are we feeling?
Good.
Good. Okay, awesome. So before we start our interview, we usually like to do a bit of an icebreaker. So Tati Kema, tell us, what is one thing that could be small or big, but one thing that is bringing you joy lately?
Yes, my family, my husband, my children, and the people around me. Because I've decided to surround myself with people that bring me joy. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of family, for those who don't know, like when we say tantine means auntie in French. So it's a sign of respect. I want to know, based on where you're at in life right now, what would you say is a song that describes where you're at in your motherhood journey? And if you don't have a song, it's okay. But what theme would you say would you use to describe the theme of motherhood of your life that you're in right now? If you don't have a song, and it can be any song. There's no rules.
Well, I have a song by Don McCorkling.
Okay.
You know? I don't know, do I have to sing it?
No, just sing it. No, just
Great is your mercy.
okay.
God is faithful.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank him every day. You know, I just learned no matter what, we need to be thankful. With what we have, where we at, we need to be thankful. Because if we start trying to count our blessings, I'm telling you, I thank God for everything in my life. For my husband, my children, my friends, my nieces, my nephews, my parents, my brothers, my sisters. I thank God.
That's so profound.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful song. That's a beautiful song. So the next question that we're going to ask is, describe yourself in 3 words. And which one do you think that your mom would have agreed with?
3 words.
Yes.
Describe myself.
Yes, and one of the descriptors, a word how you describe yourself that your mom would agree with.
I don't know how to say that in English though.
Okay, it's all good. You can say it in French.
And we'll
3
try to
words.
translate,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you say that. Blunt?
Blunt, direct.
Yes.
Yeah, blunt.
Okay. That I don't know how to say the word. Like I'm the kind of person who has no secrets.
Honest.
And loving.
Yes.
But my mom would agree with blunt. Sometimes you wish I could just be quiet. Sometimes, not say the truth all the time, because sometimes truth hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just how I am. I like to say things the way they are.
And, that is the perfect segue.
Yeah.
So on Mothers in the Middle, we think it's so important. Of course, we're going to share with our viewers and our listeners who we're interviewing today. So let's call this the confidence boost.
Confidence booster, yes.
So without further ado, today's guest is someone who means the world to us. Not just because she's our aunt, biologically, but because of the way she loves and fights for her children. Tantine Kema, as we affectionately call her, also known legally as Marie-Thérèse, is the founder of Cerafrac, a nonprofit organization supporting families raising children with disabilities through advocacy, resources, and community connection. Inspired by her own journey as a mother to daughters with autism, she created Cerafrac to make sure no parent ever feels alone. I've watched her weather so many storms over the years, but what's never changed is how fiercely protective she is, especially when it comes to how her girls are treated, included, and understood. That kind of advocacy shaped me from a young age, and it taught me the power of making space for differences. This is a conversation that matters deeply, and I'm so proud to welcome my auntie to Mothers in the Middle. Welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
Give for yourself.
Yeah,
honestly.
big up yourself.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I like the bio, and I agree with Leslie. I think there's one thing that stood out is what she said, that you taught us I think you're the first person that really just you how do I want to say, you just taught us you can lead with love, and you can learn to lead with love even when you're parenting somebody with disabilities. I've never seen you treat your daughters differently. I've always seen you just love on them, and also teach us how to love on them. And not only us, but also even some of my friends who have been around you also got to learn that. So I'm in full agreement with Leslie. Leslie mentioned in your bio that you're the founder of Cerafrac. So I want you to share a bit about, the heart behind why you started the organization, and also a bit about your journey as a younger mom. Obviously now you're a seasoned mom. You have experience. So yeah, share a bit about the heart behind your organization, your journey as a younger mom, and raising your two daughters who have autism.
Well, where do I start? First of all, growing up, I always like to make people feel good. I remember in my neighborhood, we moved to a new neighborhood. I was 12, and we were just few houses, and the rest they were still in constructions. So some the owners, they put their how can I say that, vigils with their children, the wives and children. So because my parents put me in dance class, I would come home and call all these unfortunate kids and teach them dance. And so everything I was learning in my dance class, I'll come and I'll teach them. And during the summer, we have a show. I'll have a show in the neighborhood, and everybody would come and watch it. So it's just something I love to do. Help people, make people feel good. That's how I grew. It's just something I was born with. So I was working. I had my two children, and then my firstborn was 2 years old. One day I took her to daycare, and the daycare lady sat me down and said, your daughter is 2 years old and she's still not speaking. She jumps all day and she stares at yellow things on the wall. I think she has autism. I never heard that word. My world was just, I don't know how to describe that day. I felt insulted. I don't know, and I didn't know what autism meant. So I was dropping them in the morning. So I left them. I went to work. I couldn't work. I told my supervisor, my manager, and of course she tried to explain to me. We went on the net, we looked for it, and she said, you know what, since she sat you down, you need to look into it. And she sent me home. I couldn't work. I could not work. Because the first feeling a parent feels, like if somebody else tells you, if it's not a doctor, if it's a neighbor or a friend, you feel insulted because you don't know what it is. So I went home, I was crying, and then the next day, in the afternoon, I picked up my children, and the lady apologized, of course, and I told her it's okay, because I like to be told the truth as well. You know? So I said it's okay. I took my daughter to the doctor, and of course, she was diagnosed with autism. So, and it was the same thing for the second one. So at some point I couldn't work anymore. I had to stay home because they had to get IBI therapy, speech therapy, behavioral therapy. So what I did is I set up a room in my apartment. It was like a classroom where the therapist would come every day from 8 till 4. So it was just my husband working. Every day they would come and give them therapy. And it was torture because they didn't want to talk. They didn't have eye contact. So when the therapist would lock the door, I can hear my girls screaming because they didn't want to. So me sitting in the living room, it was really torture. But I don't know. I don't know, but I'm going to try to talk to some parents too. Because I know you feel revolté in English.
Revolted, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You feel revolted, you angry at the world. But I was not that way. I kept going on. And what I was doing now in my free time, every time if my girls didn't have therapy, there was a new person settling in the region appeal from Congo, of course. Mm-hmm. I would take them to the welfare office, immigration office. I would help. They didn't speak English. I would take my 2 girls with me and we would go help these people get settled in the city. So I think I went too many times to a welfare office. Mm-hmm. And the agent saw me like a lot. Okay. And one day he's like, ma'am, you doing this for free? I said, yeah, I can't work. You know, I have my girls here. I take them they have to take therapy and I can't work. And he's like, okay, maybe you should have a non-profit organization and it's going to help you, you know, maybe you can have people, you're going to be able to hire extra people and, you know, and it's going to give you a break as well because you have bills to pay. You pay gas. You brought these people here. Mm-hmm. Who's paying gas for you? So I'm like, okay, non-profit organization. That's when I started. Every time my daughters had therapy in their room, I was in the living room doing some researches, and that's how I founded that organization, just to help family get settled, make sure to create programs and services that better their lives.
Wow, just listening to that, I'm thinking about it started essentially as something for resettlement, mm-hmm. but in the process of while you were navigating everything that was going on with the girls, yes, you, in true form, there was a level of inclusion because you were like, if I'm going through this with my girls, this nonprofit, yes, I can help resettle, but it's families. Mm-hmm. So I want to add an element of something that isn't discussed enough in our culture, yes, or communities. I think that's so beautiful. Which leads to my question, which is, as your niece, like I've seen how hard you've worked to integrate my cousins at home, at school, in the community. And I obviously understand what pushed you to start Cerafrac. So at the heart of it, was it literally a passion project that was dropped on you? Or was this something that maybe it was always there, yes, but you weren't?
It was always there. I always wanted to be self-employed. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to do things like that was my passion. Okay. I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo, formerly called Zaire.
Yeah.
And Mobutu, the previous dictator, he had a beautiful wife, Marie-Antoinette. That lady was so humble. She had so many programs to help people in need, to help the unfortunate people. And every time I would watch her on TV, I said, I want to be like her. I want to have an organization to help people. So it was just, that's why sometimes my husband tells me, you know what, our daughters are like a blessing in disguise. Because if they were not diagnosed, I would not do that because I would be dropped into the system and just keep working for somebody else. I would not have time to do that research. And so sometimes I believe it's just probably God leading me to my passion.
That's really powerful, that what you just shared. I don't know if you realize that, because part of the reason why we started this project is, yes, we're two Congolese sisters. Whether we're born in Canada, we're Congolese, and we grew up in the culture. And I really want to highlight, like you said, my daughters are two blessings in disguise, because even in the Western, I say Canada, what have you, people don't tend to see anything associated with disability. And even the word disability, I struggle with it, right? Because, but we know why, but for lack of a better term, even the word disability, but you said they're a blessing, and people, I think some, especially in our culture, forget that human life is a blessing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I love that you pointed that out. And that kind of leads me to what I wanted to ask about, like, you know, you're seasoned. I said that at the beginning. So you've navigated this for some time. I think you've learned so much. What is one thing that you wish someone told you at the beginning when you started navigating this journey? And what would you want, you know, whether it's young moms, Congolese moms, to know that the moms that can relate to you, so moms that have kids with autism, moms that are raising young kids with autism, what is something that you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey that you know now?
That's I'm going to ask you to reformulate that question.
Okay, I'm going to say it again.
Because you wouldn't, like, I never expected to have children with autism. So in our culture, if I say that I wish somebody explained to me before, you know, you can have children with disability and this and that, in our culture, I would say that person is a witch. Because why do you want me to have children with disability? So, you see, I can't,
So what I mean is, like, in our, like, so there's a lot of, like, young Congolese people that are living in the Western world today, right? And some of them were here in the diaspora, they do have kids that have the diagnosis. So what is something that maybe you felt helped you later on managing the culture expectations that you wish maybe you knew earlier? So maybe it doesn't have to necessarily be about, like, the diagnosis, but something that helped you cope, something that, because the reason why I'm asking that is because I find that like Leslie said earlier, your mentality is different. You know, some people, I've seen people try to, like, hide it, you know, like hide their kids or be like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But what I love about you is you've always been very vocal and been like, yeah, no, you know, the girls, they're like this, or no, they don't do that, or no, like, leave her alone. Like, you're not that parent that's just going to force.
We can ask you, hey, like, are there any medications so that and it's not,
or
we never feel scared as if we're insulting you, right? We just, you can tell we're asking based from a level of, we want to make sure they're good, and when we're with them, especially that we're their yayas, we're like, okay, we have to make sure they know what they can't do, so where are the parameters, right?
And respecting their boundaries. You've always respected their boundaries, and what I've noticed about you over the years is that you tell, regardless of where you're going,
you tell everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And you don't shy away from that. And I've seen other Congolese moms not be like that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I can point out is I've noticed, I've noticed more with younger kids that have autism,
Mm-hmm.
they can be sensitive to sound.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of moms who know that about their kids,
Mm-hmm.
but when they get into a certain room,
Mm-hmm.
they know that their child is autistic.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be like, arrête de crier, or stop screaming, you know. So that's a little bit what I mean.
It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me. Me being the way I am, it's just my personality.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a hard time. My husband had a hard time.
Yeah.
He had the tendency to hide the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just me, like I said, you know, my mom would agree that I was blunt. I don't hide anything. I don't hide anything because I believe, why would I hide stuff?
Mm-hmm.
It's just me. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
But it's a process. There's 3 steps to this process. First, you go on denial. And I'm asking the parents, don't stay in the denial phase because it's really bad. It's going to be bad for the parents, for the family, for the children, even for the other children who are fine, who don't have any disabilities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's hard. First, you go on denial, tendency to hide the kids. My husband had the tendency to hide the kids, and we used to argue. I say, why are you hiding them? They're beautiful. Don't hide them. But it's just my personality because I love everybody. I think, like you say, life is beautiful. Every human being is a beautiful soul. It doesn't matter how they are. They're beautiful souls. We are all beautiful souls. So it's really hard. So we went from denial. Then we moved to like the stage of acceptance. You start accepting, you're like, okay, this is how they are. We accept it. But you're not really ready to bring them out there. But you accept them. And then you go to the last step, which I don't know how to call it. That's where everywhere I go, I talk about my children. I talk about how smart they are, how beautiful. Everything that they're able to do, I bring it out there. And you're not the first person to tell me that, because I remember I spoke to a lady 3 months ago, and I was talking about my children. Oh, they have autism, and Chloe, she's really smart. She remembers everybody's birthday. She does this and that.
So creative.
And Ariel, she's good with computers. And she was staring at me and she said, you know what? Can I get your phone number? I need to give it to my sister because she's still in denial phase and it's been 15 years. She's hiding her daughter. And she said, you're a beautiful mom. So I wouldn't say that I wish somebody told me something because, as I said, in our culture, you don't say things like that. You can't prepare someone for the worst. You can't do that. In our culture, if you go try to prepare someone for the worst, you're a witch. Why would you wish something bad to happen?
Mm-hmm.
But what I wish is that my daughters being the way they were, some community members would be, how can I say that, genuine. We didn't get that.
Mm.
We got some weird comments. Oh, you're not raising your children right because they have tantrum. They have, they're sensitive to noise.
And they don't
to
understand.
sound. Yes.
Yeah.
And I know when I was in denial, I remember one day I went to an insurance. I went to get car insurance to a broker, and my daughter was jumping around, and then I apologized. Up to today, I feel bad for that. I shouldn't have. I apologize because the lady was giving me a dirty look, And then I apologized. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. But when I got home, I cried because I said, I'm not sorry. You know, it's not her fault. She didn't ask to be that way. She didn't ask to have that. The lady should have been sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking all the young parents, accept your children the way they are. And God, when He gives you a child, if there's a situation like your child is has a disability or a special need, He knows that you're strong. He knows why you're going through that phase, and He's gonna come through. So that's what I'm asking all the parents. Be strong, be proud of your children. Because a child with autism, they have a lot of talents, they have a lot of skills. You just need to find what's best for them and you develop that skill. You'll be amazed.
Yeah.
As much as you were saying you didn't want to answer that previous question, you really did answer it.
Like, you really did answer it because
Yes, you did. In the best way, though. Authentically you. You literally, it's not about preparing for the worst, but you basically told people, in essence, the way I took it, is you basically, I know you gave 3 steps, but you basically said, just get to 3 really fast.
Yes, really fast.
Because that's where they shine.
Really fast. I know it's devastating. You see, sometimes it hurts. My children, the firstborn will turn 25, beautiful young lady. The second will turn 23 in August. Sometimes I look at them and I'm like, oh my goodness, they never had friends. They don't have a social life. And sometimes my younger daughter, she would say, don't worry, if you die, we'll take care of them. You know, and it breaks my heart. I'm like, okay, are they still gonna be this way? Who's gonna take care of them? It comes to my mind. It comes to my husband's mind too. But you know what? Every time I tell everybody, my husband, my children, I said, you know what? Let's enjoy them and let's make sure that whatever they have, whatever skill they have, let's develop it and, you know, make it, how can I say that? Make their life better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm trying to create a program.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on it. And somehow it's not the government's priority. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this.
You can say, hey, you never know
not the priority.
Mm-hmm.
But
you can
if you go on the net, flotdelespoir.ca, I'm creating a program for adults with disability, with developmental delay.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a program where they're gonna have a 12-week assessment, so we can pull out their skills, find out what kind of skills they have and how we can develop them.
Cultivate.
Yes.
And with that leads to my question for you, which is, with the amazing work you've done, what you have upcoming on the horizon, do you ever see yourself bringing this to the Congo? Because I feel like, just as a child of the diaspora, as a first generation, I think that, like, for my sister and I can speak for both of us when I say the fact that you weren't born here, but you've assimilated, and not completely, like, you're still très Congolaise.
Yeah.
However, but you've been able to take, and I don't like to say comparison, I'm missing, the words are missing
I think
right
she
now.
took the knowledge. She allowed herself to be teachable.
Yes.
She learned.
Yes.
I think that's really what it is, because it's like you allowed yourself to be educated, and she gained the knowledge of, okay, how do I equip myself to be the best parent that I can be for my daughters, right? You just gave the 2 examples, like, you know your daughter's skill sets and talents.
Mm-hmm.
Some parents have kids that are autistic, and because they're in maybe the denial phase or the first phase, they haven't gotten to the 3rd phase, and they haven't been able to be like, okay, like, oh, he or she is good at this or good at this, because they're still maybe like grieving, right? And so I take it as that. Like, I think Tatikema has equipped herself. She has like the knowledge, like she knows. Do you know what
Which
I mean?
is why, though, someone like you with your personality, your duality, right? When you're in Canada, I mean, we get down to you, we kick it. When we go back home, you know the culture, like, very well, because you grew up in the culture. Like, do you ever see yourself bringing this back to the Congo?
Yes, but not now. There's a lot to be done here.
Okay.
There's a lot to be done here. I know in the Congo it's even worse because these people, these children with developmental delay, any disability, they're perceived as witches, and people mistreat them. So that population needs to be educated as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is, here, my children are born here. They're Canadian. I know they're from Congolese background, but they're Canadian. This is their country.
Yeah.
So I need to start doing something for them here. So once something is really set here, and I know all the kids here, immigrants, children,
Can also
here
benefit.
from the services here, then I can think about bringing it back home. But here we need, like, families need support. They really do. So it wouldn't be fair for me to just go develop something there while I know my own children are here and then they don't have any services. It wouldn't be fair. So I would start here first, and then for the Congo we see.
As they say, tend to your, one of our guests had told us, tend to your own backyard first
Yes.
before you go elsewhere.
Yes.
So,
And speaking about the Congo, I just realized my husband and I was been talking this month. We try to invest in the Congo. It's not, the country is not stable. And we just realized our children are born here. They have a life here.
Yeah.
They're going to build the future here. They don't know anything about the Congo. And plus the culture. We took them a few years ago. They were shocked. The behavior, the way people were thinking, and they look at you like, "Oh, why are you fat?" But Mom, that's not a way to talk to someone. So, and people arguing on the road every time. They were traumatized. So we just realized that they just realized that it's not. We just realized it's not, like, we have to build something here for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice to build something for the immigrants' family here too. The people that are coming to get a better life for their children.
Yeah. And the people that your organization is serving, ultimately, I think, like you mentioned earlier, when we started this, you talked about how something, and I loved that you gave that example of how something that there's two examples that you gave. You said something that you were doing, like when you were doing the dance class, and then you saw Mobutu's wife on TV, and you're like, okay, I want to do that. And then you come here, and you were already helping, like, the immigrant family. So it's like, it's from the heart, you know?
Yes.
You're not just like doing this because, I want to expand. And yeah, your organization has grown, but it's also, there's like you have a bigger why.
Yes.
You have a bigger why.
Yes.
And I love that.
Thank you.
And I don't know, let's see if you want to touch a little bit about, like, Tanzikema, you've been a mom for so long. How do you take care of you? What are things that you do to take care of Tanzikema?
I'm gonna be honest. I do not take care of myself.
Because we didn't know she was
I do not have time to take care of me.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
you do not have time, or you don't make time.
I don't make time. I'm very, I don't know. As loving as I am, I always want to make sure everybody around me is fine.
Yeah.
So before I think about myself, I want to make sure that everybody around me is fine. And then, of course, my younger daughters, they take advantage of it. My husband too.
We need you. I need people to understand it's because, I mean, they're meeting you right now because they're viewing or listening. My aunt is the type of aunt, if I called her and sat at 4 a.m. and said, I'm stuck in a hotel in New York City.
She's coming.
Or I have no way to get home. I don't know, just
she's waking up to talk and they're coming.
and they're coming. Like, I just need you to understand when I'm talking about my aunt. Like, that's who she is. Like, our friends always know, like, her door's always, even if we were never here, our friends know if they needed anywhere to go, they could call us, and I know she'd be the first person I call, be like, hey, I have someone in need. And that's just her heart. So we're nearing the end here, but our last question for you is focused on you.
Yes.
Which is, if you could talk to Tantine Kimaya Cartier growing up back home, you know, between, I don't want to give you an age, but for an age, I'll say 10 to 20-year-old Tantine Kimaya. Finish this sentence. You don't have to.
Like, as an advice?
Yeah. Like, what
To
if
your
you're
younger
if
self.
you're talking to your younger self, right? Now, as Laura said, you're a seasoned mom. But if you're going to talk...
And you're also a wife. And you're also like a business owner. Like, there's a lot of layers to you. So your advice could also spread. It could be about anything.
It could be about anything. But it's your advice if you were talking to your younger, if you could see your younger self, whether you're 10, 20, 30, but you could talk to your younger self, what would you tell her? And finish the sentence with, you don't have to
talk too much. Yes, when I was younger, I was talking too much.
When you say talking too much, but elaborate on that.
I was saying things that I was not supposed to say. Like, I would see, let's say, Laura being mean to Leslie, you know, some people could come in a subtle way to say, you know, maybe call Laura on the side, and no, I would just come and say, why are you being mean to her? You said this and that to her. You don't do that. So I was very, I don't know, I talk too much.
Outspoken?
I talk too much in a way. You call me Tantine Kema, right? In my neighborhood, they were calling me Kembush. Yeah, bush. I could never keep quiet. You know what? My dad would be sleeping, and he's like, okay, if they come look for me, you say I'm not there. And then somebody comes, and I say, he's here. He's sleeping, and he's oh yeah, and I was 12, and I'll be come, sit in the living room, give them something to drink and everything, be comfortable. I go and I call my dad. I'm like, you mean why you don't want to see your friend? So that was just me.
I still think it's a gift though, because it has allowed you to advocate for a lot of things that are dear for you. So I mean, but I get it. I feel for context in our culture, because I'm the same way. Like you know, and I feel like women who are outspoken, I think especially not just our culture, but our tribe, we're very patriarchal. And I think when women are outspoken, it's almost seems like unnatural.
Yeah, it riles people's
People are bothered. And I would hope that the testament to what you said, like, all of us are a gift. All of us have different abilities. And, you know, let's celebrate how we each show up in the world. We don't have to understand it all the time. Like, I know my family definitely questioned, like, every time my dad got my report card, I was like, in English, Leslie talks too much in class. Every report card, Leslie talks too much. And I'm like, well, you know, I have a lot to say.
Yeah, and God gave us a mouth. Like, it's not, you know the thing that our parents used to say, la bouche c'est pour parler. Like, the mouth is for speaking, you know?
But you know, growing now, even with the job that I do, being a executive director, meeting member of parliament, officials, government officials, you can't say things. You can't talk. You can't be comfortable saying certain things.
Yes.
So yeah. So I'm learning that now.
You're practicing
You still have the ability, and I think what you're doing, God's put you in a position where, you still have to say things maybe, you know, in a nice way, as I said, decorum, but you still get to speak for people.
Yes.
Who sometimes don't have a voice.
Yeah,
so
that's
I think
powerful.
that's very beautiful. And it's like, it's a full circle moment. That's what we say. It's a full circle moment.
But I'm still learning. I'm still trying to find the subtle way
temperaments?
to be very diplomatic when I say things, because sometimes it's too blunt.
It's too raw.
I appreciate this honesty.
Good. Some people don't. So
we're figuring it out.
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, Tante Kima, thank you so much. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for
Thanks for saying yes.
and also for your vulnerability. Honestly, like I know this is like, these are like intimate, topics, sometimes difficult topics, but thank you for just being so comfortable to speak about this with us, and also to share this with our audience, to share this on our platform.
It's going to benefit so many people, and it's not even just people who may be experiencing the same thing, but I think for what you did for us, I would say, which is you just the way you were, just opened us up to how we treat anyone who has any type of developmental delay. You took away the ignorance. There you go. You took away, we don't walk through the world with ignorance. You took away that ignorance, and you educated us without even realizing you were educating us. So,
and now we get to educate others, when they have, we get to educate others. And that's happened to me so many times. Like I've been around like friends and like, just friends, people of different walks of life, and like, oh, okay, oh, there's an autism. Okay, hi. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I know how to interact with you. I know that I can still talk.
You see how the parents feel comfortable? Like how you can see in the face.
Yeah.
They kind of like the facial expression says thank you.
Yeah. Or they feel comfortable to bring their kids.
Yes.
Yes. And that is my greatest joy, honestly. And I always think of you in those moments.
Yeah, you taught us that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying it now, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say it in the show, but if you know a parent who is going through like, trying to accept their child disability, sometimes when you try to talk to them, they might say, oh, you don't know what I'm going through. Give them my phone number or bring them here, bring them over. I went through that. I'm still going through that for the past 25 years, and I'll be the better person to talk to that person.
Yeah. And what we will do is we will also put your website, information for your organization. Okay. We're going to put the project, the pilot that you're working on. I know that there's a GoFundMe. So we'll also share that so that people can find you. If there's people that are watching this video and they want to get more information about Cerafrac and the work that you're doing, we're going to share that with the world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And you're welcome. Thanks.
It's done.
It's done. And this was Mothers in the Middle.